Salve a tutti ragazzi, bentornati su Spaghetti Gaming, io sono Christian e siamo qui con un nuovo episodio di Starfield su PC. Al termine dello scorso episodio ci eravamo lasciati qui alle spalle del dottor Percival Walker, con il quale avevamo avviato ulteriori indagini appunto sui terrormorfi e dobbiamo proseguire con queste indagini. Adesso dobbiamo incontrare Adrian al Sixth Circle per raccontarle un po' quello che abbiamo scoperto. Detto questo, io proseguirei subito con l'episodio, vado col cambio inquadratura e a questo punto andiamo a beccare Adrian, ragazzi.
Entertaining the notion of xeno-warfare angers me to the core.
Ah, viene anche il dottore. Vieni, Percival. Con calma, eh. Andiamo in superficie e ci dirigiamo verso la nostra astronave. Che è lì, effettivamente. Ok, ci possiamo andare a piedi, ragazzi. Corriamo un po', così facciamo anche la mini quest per il livello di forza. Stiamo andando in debito d'ossigeno. L'abbiamo recuperata quasi tutta di jetpack. Ok. Ok, pensavo fosse più vicino in realtà, ragazzi, altrimenti avrei usato il viaggio rapido. Pensavo fosse molto più vicino. Avevo guardato proprio male. Però ormai siamo arrivati. Ok, ci siamo quasi. Wow, siamo riusciti a salire. Sollevamento pesi. Ce la stiamo facendo tutta sul jetpack. Ok, entriamo, andiamo a parlare al Sixth Circle con il nostro contatto.
Check your suit seals. Martian dust gets everywhere.
Grazie Sara per il consiglio. Ok, lui ci fa prendere l'ascensore.
I wouldn't call them out, but I would definitely find it away.
Has been climbing the charts. Mech Horizon is a fictionalized account of a mech villain's dizzying career as her face-off with the UC, Spacers, and leading an assault on Varun Zealots. Although far-fetched, the book's already gained quite the following in the Freestar Collective, and more than its share of controversy. One critic said, mechs are banned by the Armistice because of their unconscionable destructive power. Glorifying them is not only disrespectful to the many families who lost loved ones during the Colony War, it's also dangerous. Dangerous or not, rumor has it that at least 2 movie studios are in a bidding war for the rights to the book. You're listening to SSNN.
Ok. Scusate, ho voluto sentire la trasmissione perché anche quella dà molto lore di gioco, no? Cioè, io mi fermo sempre quando gioco a Starfield ad ascoltare queste cose per immergermi nel gioco, perché altrimenti è inutile poi giudicare il fatto che ha meno lore di altri, no?
Percival. My God, look at you. You're an old man now.
Le cose bisogna anche coglierle.
Hassling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back.
Ok, li seguiamo e cerchiamo di capire la prossima mossa.
Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
makes 2 of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble.
Non è stata una passeggiata.
And I'm sorry about that. I'm just glad you both came through it intact. So, were you 2 able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terrormorf data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we'd be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on 2 conditions. 1, they want to see this analysis you 2 have procured. And 2, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us.
Questi che cercate non mi sembrano dati qualunque, quindi credo che mi dobbiate una spiegazione.
Of course. You deserve the full story. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists. Ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare.
Ok.
A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. and the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done.
Tutto questo ancora non spiega perché i dati dei terromorfi sono negli archivi.
Well, it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terrormorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the colony war. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it.
Ok. Non mi esalta il fatto che tu mi abbia nascosto delle informazioni, però penso di poterti aiutare.
That's all I'm asking. Thank you. Now I need to get this work up in the cabinet's hands. Once that's done, I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Ok.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
I've got your back.
Siamo anche saliti di livello. Ehi Sara. Ok, quindi io piazzerei il livello, ragazzi, anzitutto. Ne abbiamo uno. Dobbiamo passare ancora 9 sfide. Quindi, attività si potrebbe fare e sollevamento pesi ci manca ancora un po'. Qui balistica ci mancano ancora 8 nemici. Fare laser oppure scienza, medicina ancora no. Risorse inorganiche, metodo di ricerca, rilevamento. Aumenta la scansione a 20 metri, questo non è male, ragazzi. E astrodinamica aumenta del 15% la distanza dei gravisalti. Questo 2 ci servirebbe. Sicurezza non possiamo ancora. E questo controllo puntamento. Il prossimo sarebbe il tempo di aggancio delle navi nemiche ridotto del 15%. Le navi agganciate ti sparano il 25% più lentamente. Wow. Prendo questo, ragazzi, assolutamente. Ok. Ora che abbiamo fatto un passo avanti, direi che dobbiamo incontrare Adrian a Nuova Atlantide al quartiere del Tasm o del Mast. Ah, per parlare con i capocchia lì, va bene. Ok Adrian, andiamo.
Do your part to keep Sidonia graffiti free.
Ci dirigiamo verso la nostra nave. Così corriamo ancora un po' e finiamo di fare la parte che ci manca della sfida per livellare ancora su forza. Beh, sollevamento pesi in realtà è il perk. Ok. Abitacolo. Così almeno siamo già seduti. Decolliamo e torniamo a Nuova Atlantide.
Ship's good. Welcome, welcome,
Intanto che facciamo il viaggio, ragazzi, inizio a dirvi che l'espansione non l'ho ancora acquistata, credo che l'acquisterò probabilmente a fine mese. Intanto vado avanti e portiamo avanti anche il personaggio, tanto comunque, come dicevamo anche nel precedente episodio, per l'espansione bisogna avere almeno il livello 35, quindi è inutile prenderla adesso per questa run. Certo potrei usarla nella mia run principale, però aspettiamo fine mese, così nel frattempo porto questo personaggio a livello necessario per accedere ai contenuti dell'espansione.
Advised you are entering United Colony Base. Please maintain course and prepare to be scanned.
Ah, abbiamo della merce di contrabbando.
Our scan detected contraband on board. Halt and prepare to be boarded. All illegal and stolen goods
Mi
will
ero
be
dimenticato
confiscated.
che avevamo quelle scritture Varuna a bordo.
Halt and prepare to be boarded or will be forced to open fire.
Paghiamo la multa, dai.
Copy that. Stay on course while we escort you in.
Ok. Ce le hanno rimosse, ovviamente, abbiamo pagato anche la multa. Va bene, fa nulla, dai, raga. Allora, noi dobbiamo andare... Siamo stati stupidi perché quelle scritture Varuna avrei potuto venderle a Neon. Però vabbè, la prossima volta che le trovo mi ricorderò che devo fare attenzione. Allora, andiamo a prendere la metro, la NAT. E andiamo nel quartiere del TASM o del MAST, che dir si voglia. Per noi è per il gioco in originale credo sia MAST e per noi è TASM, se non ricordo male.
Back, eh? How's it going?
Vediamo. Facciamo. E ne vediamo subito l'insegna adesso. MAST. Mentre la traduzione italiana è TASM.
Captain, over here.
Ok. Ecco Adrian.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands.
Mhm.
They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure,
Un'altra.
there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there.
Sentiamo.
My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance.
Mhm.
The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I
Ah,
am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former
Okay.
head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title
Okay.
he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
ok. Questo Vae Victis deve essere stato un comandante eccezionale se lo sia voluto clonarlo.
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military
Ok. Ci sta.
and civilians.
Però ciò non toglie che possa essere stato un grande comandante, al di là dei gesti finali che possa aver fatto.
So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned.
Ok, grazie per avercelo detto. Cosa ha fatto tuo padre per meritare di essere messo a morte?
He had his men open fire on civilian ships during the Battle of Cheyenne. A battle that he ultimately ended up losing anyway, devastating the UC fleet and bringing the colony war to an ugly end for the UC. But he's also the one who ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport during their outbreak, condemning countless lives. Both sides
Ma le ha
believed the
fatte,
settled systems would be better without him.
Ad ogni modo, tu non sei tuo padre. Se il gabinetto non lo capisce, è un problema suo, non tuo.
I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done
Apprezzo.
already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here.
Onestamente, secondo te, quali sarebbero i rischi se dovessimo riuscire ad accedere a questi dati?
Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terrormorfi project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They are deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise.
I tuoi occhi sono rossi. È il risultato del processo di clonazione?
That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars.
Ah, ok.
The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift.
Ok, non ho altre
And I guess
domande.
it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
Ok.
Here we go.
Allora, prima di andare, vediamo se ho altri vestiti, ragazzi. Giusto per capire, mi ricordavo che ne avevamo raccolti altri. Allora, abiti comodi da colono. Abiti da duello da ranger. Abiti da mercenario del primo, che sono quelli che indossiamo. Abiti da frontiera. Bellino anche questo. Abito... vabbè, questo è il cappello. Cappello. Completo da danzatore, no. Direi di no. Uniforme vice ranger, no. Questo difende anche un po' da rad. Danno fisico 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Vabbè, intanto teniamo quelli che abbiamo, ragazzi.
Captain, congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Grazie, cara. Camere del gabinetto affari interstellari. E dai Sara, smettila. Così ha deciso di correre verso chissà dove, Sara. Si è ripresa. Siamo arrivati, ragazzi. Sara.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Adrian ha spiegato chiaramente che questo problema deve essere affrontato con la massima urgenza.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terrormorf data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
Stiamo ancora cercando di capire cosa abbiamo davanti. Non possiamo prendere una decisione senza dati.
That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terrormorf attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terrormorf seem at all alarming to you?
So solo quello che mi è stato detto. Il suo tessuto corrisponde ai campioni di Londinion.
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
Non della mia parola, dei risultati dei campioni.
So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
Se c'è la possibilità che quello che è successo su Tau Ceti possa accadere altrove, la richiesta deve essere accolta.
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
Well, I am not. I've heard nothing here to convince me that we should do anything but wait. And I will not risk galactic peace on a question of if.
Yes, a fair assessment, Chief Diplomat. So then, while the data you two have presented is compelling, I think we can safely say it's insufficient for the level of action you've requested. Perhaps once we
Ecco quello che aspettavate, cari.
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terrormorphs.
Terrormorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Adesso siete convinti?
Good God.
Damn it.
Anche tu sei convinta?
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
Andiamo. Direttamente alla stazione. Ah, dovevamo usare l'altro. Ma ce l'abbiamo? Non so se lo abbiamo. E no che non l'abbiamo.
God, you got here when you did. I just wish it hadn't come to that.
Yeah, what the hell happened back there, Captain? There's no excuse for using lethal force here.
Chiedo scusa, ho sbagliato.
Sorry doesn't bring these people back. A crisis isn't licensed to cast aside your morals. Understand? Now, officer, the way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terrormorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We'd tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some terrormorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control.
Ecco cos'era.
Against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire. And that we should grab that EM weapon before we head out.
Sembra che dobbiamo affrettarci.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Ok, ci proviamo e vediamo se possiamo anche raccogliere l'arma che diceva, è questa. Inventario. E questo, bisogna metterlo tra i preferiti e lo mettiamo qui tipo. Per ora sì. Ok, proseguiamo. Prendiamo la NAT e andiamo allo spazioporto, ragazzi.
Wait. Did you hear that?
No time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull some firepower. Let's move.
Spaceport district. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
Shoot it! Shoot it!
You might back up. You stand there.
Dai che ce l'abbiamo fatta. Ok. Ok. Ufficiale in comando. Eh sì.
We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Ho un bel po' di supply. Ne abbiamo 3 da uccidere, quindi. Tu cosa stai facendo?
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terrormorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us.
Ce ne occupiamo noi. Restate fermi.
Your call. We're on the line.
Ok, uno fatto fuori. Dov'è l'altro terrormorfo? Finiti i colpi. Haha.
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Hanno fatto proprio un bel casino. Guardate qua. Ok. La nostra nave è intatta, tra l'altro. Torniamo dal sergente Yumi.
Find anything useful?
Uniforme della sicurezza.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. The universe put the right people in the right place.
Avete tutti tenuto la posizione. Siete voi gli eroi qui, non noi.
Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terrormorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Direi di sì, torniamo dal Presidente e vediamo se adesso ci dà l'autorizzazione ad accedere a quei dati. Forse si sono convinti adesso, ragazzi. E dai, raga. E poi chiudiamo l'episodio. Quindi andiamo nuovamente al quartiere del Tasma o del Mast. E nell'ascensore, che qua il morto l'hanno già portato via, così io smetto di sentirmi in colpa. Sara si è impallata di nuovo.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss.
Direi proprio di sì.
Creatures killed UC citizens. They're not killing anymore.
My officers
Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them
Ok, adesso vi siete svegliati, eh? D'accordo, grazie.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, after today's events, the cabinet has decided to revisit its previous decision. We will be supporting your collection of the Terrormorph data from the archives.
Perfetto.
As well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed, first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative.
Se siete sicuri che sia la cosa migliore da fare, va
In
bene.
exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us?
Puoi contare su di me.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Corsair. Start getting a plan together for that data.
There are so many different
Ok.
groups across the settled systems, it's hard to keep
Ora,
up.
noi dobbiamo andare a parlare con la vice McIntyre per poter accedere ai dati. Facciamo questa cosa di accedere ai dati, ragazzi. E salviamo la partita. Ho sbagliato strada. Eccola.
Yes. Yes, sir. Consider it done. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also told the President wants us to get you into the Armistice archives ASAP. So, we've got no time to waste. You know what the archives are, correct?
Sono il deposito di tutte le informazioni bandite dopo la guerra coloniale.
Someone paid attention in current events. So, then you also know that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Aspetterei che non vedano l'ora di aiutare dopo l'attacco allo spazioporto.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here.
Ok.
Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
Parlami dell'ambasciatrice Radcliffe del collettivo Freestar.
Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
If Sam is any example of how stubborn the Freestar people can be, then I can imagine how difficult it must be dealing with this ambassador.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Okay.
Using experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Va bene, quali sono questi altri strumenti?
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Report suggests there's a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for intel. Maybe even convince to work with you.
Cosa puoi dirmi di questo membro del personale?
Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts.
Ci sono altre cose che dovrei evitare dentro l'ambasciata?
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
Ok. Al momento sono tutte le informazioni che mi servono sull'ambasciatrice Radcliffe.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
Parlami anche dell'ambasciatore Balmor della casata Varun.
Ambassador Balmor's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmor stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Di sicuro è possibile ragionarci, i Varun sono persone come noi.
Well said. There's no reason to assume they're any worse than us, despite their cultural beliefs.
Of course. But there is another wrinkle.
Mm-hmm.
We're not 100% sure Balmor is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice.
Lo troverò.
I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And
perfetto.
We received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated
Come se non bastasse. Ok.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Va bene. Inizieremo da lei. Usciamo da qui, ragazzi, e chiudiamo l'episodio. Andiamo nell'atrio dove c'era il comandante attuale. No, grazie. Buona giornata. E ci salutiamo qui, ragazzi, con questo bellissimo fondale. Mi metto qui, mi giro e ci salutiamo qui. Detto questo, nel prossimo episodio proveremo a convincere gli ambasciatori della casata Varun e del collettivo Freestar a concederci i loro codici di accesso ai dati degli archivi. Io chiuderei qui l'episodio, ragazzi. Spero che questo nuovo episodio di Starfield vi sia piaciuto, che vi abbia intrattenuto a dovere. Come al solito vi chiedo di mettere un like se il video vi è piaciuto, di iscrivervi al canale se non l'avete ancora fatto e se la cosa può interessarvi e se volete aiutarmi a farlo crescere. In descrizione vi metto come al solito il link per l'acquisto di Starfield su Instant Gaming. È un link di affiliazione al mio utente, quindi se fate l'acquisto di Starfield da quel particolare link, il 3% del valore del vostro acquisto viene versato al mio utente e in futuro questi crediti verranno riutilizzati per acquistare altri giochi da portare sul canale. Detto questo, io vi ringrazio ancora per essere arrivati fino qui e ci vediamo presto con i prossimi episodi. Ciao a tutti e grazie.
Ti ho trovato, spaghetti. Credo proprio che questo punto me lo aggiudico io. Non viene.